It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing a reaction discussion video that was recommended by one of you guys in the Discord community. So if you want to go ahead and suggest videos to be discussed, you can go ahead and join the Discord community and go ahead and scroll down the rules and hit the knife emoji to speak with the rest of us about different topics, whether it be films, novels, TV shows, DVD, whatever you want to discuss. And it is linked in the description. So we're going to be talking about a video from Fight titled "Can't Dash Fast, Too Bad, The Death of M1 Killers." Now, as you know, I've actually discussed this topic, I think, ad nauseum at this point when it comes down to it. Spoken about this topic constantly throughout every single discussion when it comes to balancing, to updates. I'm usually going to be the first person that always mentions how this pretty much, it does not affect the M1 killers either positively or at all. In some cases, it actually affects the M1 killer experience negatively, so that usually happens quite a bit. About half the roster is unusable. With, in consideration to the, gen meta that we're in right now. And this touches on a lot of things. One of the main things that I have also discussed previously was the fact that pain resonance is definitely one of the worst slowdowns to run on an M1 killer. Despite the fact that it's a common misconception, because we understand that it is considered like the strongest slowdown in the game, so it makes sense. Weak killer, strong perk, you know what I mean? It makes like logical sense. You want to give them something strong. The problem is that the way that the perk functions, you're going to get diminishing returns, or you're just not going to end up getting anything valuable from it. And I've covered that in a previous video that is on the channel. I can link that at the end. But we're going to be talking specifically about what Fight is kind of discussing, which I figure I'm going to probably end up agreeing with it anyway. I've already discussed this topic before.
Use those stacks, use those tokens. In 30 seconds, Dead Man Switch used to be 50. 30 seconds? 30 seconds is nothing. Not when survivors can get gens done in 17 seconds. Less than that. Stakeout, hyperfocus, built to last, toolbox, brand new part. I mean...
The funny part is that this is actually true. There are people that adamantly will deny and say that this is not common, like hyperfocus is somehow only 3% out of all matches, and that's not something you're gonna face all the time, or that's impossible. These gens are not getting done in that span of time, but they are. We have video evidence of these things. Like, these are things that actually occurred. These are things that actually happened. Like, we have video of this occurring. You know what I mean? And the fact that it can be done, I think, is a big sort of statement of where the game is really heading. And it's kind of insane to deny that, literal reality, but that is something that the DVD community is very keen on doing. They tend to do that a lot. You even around the fog vials situation, we had numerous videos showing evidence and proving like this item is a little overtuned, like this is kind of ridiculous. We cannot see anybody. People are breaking off chase for the sheer fact that you can't hear or see anything, and you can't see scratch marks, so you're just, all forms of information are being stripped away from the chase. So of course they reasonably reduced its strength, because of course, like, that's completely ridiculous. Is one of the perfect examples of that. And there's still people to this day that still believe that the fog vials are fine on release, or that they gotta bring them back. Like, no, they don't. And I guess it could be just like blatant ignorance. I don't know if that's just what it could be. Maybe they're just like genuinely just like idiotic. I don't know, right? I can't speak for these people. But the fact of the matter is that the evidence is there in a lot of situations, and the thing is that when you try to discuss these things with people that have this mindset that survivors are being victimized and survivors are somehow never receiving any positive change whatsoever, when presented with logic and evidence, they will just say that you're wrong and never provide their own evidence, never provide anything to refute that. So like there's no way to convince them otherwise. Like there just really isn't. And when it comes down to behavior, they're more focused on obviously, getting money for their game. So they're going to cater to those particular people because those are the most vocal, those are the most, like, they're the most plentiful, they're the most echo chamber, right? So then you'll, like, chambery, I guess you could say. They spend time going around and farting in each other's faces to convey this sort of concept that somehow Survivor is still weak. Even though they've received numerous buff after buff in every patch, to perks and other mechanics that never needed to change anyway. And we are still feeling those effects even now, even with the Stranger Things update. We got additional perks that increase more gen speed, which, as if we didn't need that already. And that is a bit of a problem. I'm surprised they never added anything for gen speed stacking. Ironically enough, they tried to go after haste at one point. They want to remove haste stacking somehow, but yet they can have heal speed stacking and gen speed stacking, and there's no mechanic in place for that, never a PTB for that. There was never even a question if that was ever going to get touched, but for some reason haste was on the chopping block first. I don't know how that makes any sense. I don't understand it, but here we are. But let's continue.
This is embarrassing. It really is. Think of it from a new player's perspective. DVD's on sale. Let's say you buy the game for, I don't know, $5, right? And then let's say, oh, you see Ghostface is in the game. That's pretty cool. I like Ghostface. You buy Ghostface. You get into your first game, no perks.
Which I want to preface really quickly. I always do this every time that Ghostface comes up in conversation or any topic, because people still to this day believe that the Ghostface we have in the game for some reason is from the movies. I don't know if, like, I still don't get it. I'm like, I don't know if, like, they need to get, like, put on some, maybe they gotta, like, go to the eye doctor or something, because, like, the character that looks nothing like the movie in the first place. So I don't know what movie they saw, you know what I'm saying? But regardless, it's the only license they have is for the mask. Okay, so Fun World's mask that you can buy at the Halloween stores. That's the only license they have. They don't have anything to do with Scream. It has nothing to do with it. I just want to make that abundantly clear. And it's still crazy to this day. We still hear that. It's like, oh yeah, it Scream's in the game. Like, no, he's not. Like no, they're not. I mean, they're not. No, the movie's not in there. Stop it.
Maybe some add-ons. Maybe you're running one of Ghostface's unique perks. You get slammed. I mean, we're talking fist in the booty all the way up to the maximum. And what do you do after that? You probably uninstall the game, request a refund, and call it a day. I mean, it's just a joke at this point. And, you know, I've made videos about the same.
Yeah, I do kind of understand where Y-Fight is coming from. And I mean, I've covered this topic previously. You already understand. I understand that even, you know, the example is not the most varied, I would say, in terms of, like, context or anything else like that, of course. I can't really, you know, agree or disagree or even like try to support or be against, you know, it directly. But I understand, like, the core message behind that. Like, a new player is loading up the game and they already don't know what's going on, and then they pick a character that they would like, right? Like, you know, which is, like, in this case, it's going to be Ghostface, right? Because it represents, you know, something that they like. And they go to play the character, and then they're completely steamrolled. And then, of course, they're just not really having a good time because of it, and then they request a refund, and then they don't play again. And that covers a couple different pillars of the issues with the game, right? So one, obviously, is being that it's a very steep amount of information to try to even dive into. Like, how do you even begin to get into that for new players? Number one. Secondly, the character is a weak character. And of course, with the current meta, where the gens are getting done in 30 seconds, 17 seconds, like, it's like, how are they going to be able to learn these things? Because we've got to keep in mind, like, I've even heard people talk about the matchmaking. Sometimes the matchmaking is crazy, where you're going against like extremely experienced people when you have very low hours. And then let's say in the perfect scenario, somebody does buy the game on sale, tries it out, buys the character, for example, goes against that team, and then goes, I don't like this game, and proceeds to refund it, right? For different factors. And keep in mind, this is the same game that gets all these crazy licenses, and yet all of those characters are completely low tier trash, meaning that you're not really even being able to hold your own. And then meaning, of course, on top of the, the game balancing, it's not in a good spot. Like, a lot of people that are like trying to load up with these characters are going to have a hard time. And it's sad because people buy the game and to try to experience it because that's their favorite movie license, right? Like, that's their favorite character. Even speaking for myself, that's where I started. I saw the characters in the store and I was like, man, that would be really cool to play. Like, I could play Freddy, I could play Myers, like I could play Ghostface and stuff like that. That'd be really interesting. And the tome had come out around that time too, so I was like, all right, cool, I could just play the tome and get some get some more masks and stuff like that for him. But even before that, it was a very tough experience. It was very difficult getting into it because of the fact that, especially at the like low MMRs and stuff like that, you're getting the bully squads. You're getting like the toughest experience for you because you don't know what to do. So then it will then turn off your experience from even wanting to play the game in the first place. And that, of course, bleeds into losing players overall and stuff like that. The community is also very bad in terms of its toxicity and things like that. So I think there's a lot of factors that are going into this that are all encompassed, and I think that's what Wi-Fi is really trying to explain.
Same topic before, and they've all done really well, but I feel like I'm just kind of shouting in the void here. No one cares. Everyone's pretending like this problem doesn't exist, but a great example is the Chandler Riggs stream when they're presented with outsiders who are like, oh, Ghostface, that's cool. Oh, Michael Myers, that's awesome. And everyone just kind of goes silent because they realize they're some of the worst killers in the game. But no one wants to admit it.
I've never actually seen that part. I wish that was there was a clip of that. I do wish there was a clip that could be used for reference for that, because I would like to have seen that personally. Now, when it comes to Wi-Fi's perspective on no one's really talking about it, I think there are a few of us that are. Well, few maybe being you can count it on your hand. But there's definitely, at least I can speak for myself, where I'm saying I've been advocating for, Ghostface and the low tier killers for as long as I can remember at this point. So, and it's crazy. It really is crazy, because it's anytime the conversation's brought up, the first thing out of everybody's mouth is, oh, Blight. And it's why is Blight even considered in these conversations at this point? Because if every perk and every map and everything else does nothing to Blight, is unaffected by Blight, whatever have you, and any other S tier, they're unaffected by most maps, most perks, most builds, most whatever. Why are we then talking about balancing for them when nothing affects them versus the rest of the roster and the good chunk of the lower tiers? Why are they not in the conversation? And for some reason, we always see oh, but Blight, and it's but Blight has nothing to do with any of this. You know what I mean? Sure, are they balancing around Blight in some ways that are directly hurting the game? Probably. That I don't disagree with. But it's when we're having balance discussions, why is it not on the first thing in your mind is going, what about the rest of the roster? There are more characters that are in C to D and even B tier than there is A to S tier. What are we talking about? But regardless,
everyone will acknowledge they're bad, but they'll never actually talk about why they're bad to begin with. This idea that the devs are just going to keep releasing new perks that give gen speed bonuses What is wrong with behavior? Do they literally just have their fingers in their ears and they're going la 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 la? Like, what? I feel.
Yeah, I've spoken about this before as well. Like I've even said this back when the Crossu came out. I said, why are we getting ghost notes? Like, why are we buffing the meta already? Like, we're getting not only something that affects exhaustions, but we're then also getting a perk that affects skill checks, which now the skill check buffs, you know, with all the skill check perks together, led to not only the Hens World Records, but 30-second gens solo, right? The hyper focus takeout. So the fact that that's possible, I think, is a big issue. That's kind of a part of the big problem with this game, I think. And I do, like, I will say I disagree to an only in the extent that, like, no one is talking about it. I think there's, like, there is, but maybe, like, maybe I'm underground or something, you know what I mean? Like those mixtapes that people were passing around in, like, in the freaking tunnels or something like that, in the back when people passed that around, I guess. I don't know. Like, are we some underground, like, you know, I don't know. Are we in the shadows? Like, what are we talking about? I don't know. Either way, I have no idea. It's a wild reference. Point being, all right, like, are we some underground channel, dog? Like, there's, like, no one, are we not on the radar that, like, no one realizes that we've been discussing this for as long as we have been? Maybe. But that is pretty much what I wanted to add to this video today. If you want to watch the original, it'll be linked in the description, so you can watch the full video on your own. But I'm going to pass it over to you guys. What do you guys think about the topic at hand? Let me know in the comments section. Consider hitting the like button as well, and if you really want to support the channel, consider subbing on Twitch. You can also become a member on Patreon and YouTube, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off our members from Patreon. Pro King 101, YouTube members: Kargan Falcon, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not JLo, Evil Peach, Cozy Bozy, Theo Endire, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. And for the Twitch, we have Final Girl Bunny, Leona Art, Zazabu, Evil Blade, Danica, Crow Vader, Cake is a Road, Zeneron, Ginsburg, Mr. Morik, Kevin, Zero Mocker, Ashai Boo, and Gryffindor. Appreciate you guys supporting. Really means a lot. If you want to become a member, you can go ahead and join through Patreon or YouTube members, or even sub on Twitch. See you guys in the next one.